Sir, I don't have a questions related to data extractions and creation of dictionary file, but I have a one questions regarding the weight.
Okay.
Sir, why?
So we'll discuss it.
Okay, okay, okay,
We'll discuss that when we'll come on to that topic. Okay. So we'll
okay,
discuss in detail. Do not worry
okay,
about
sir,
that.
okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Uh, I request
Hello,
Jaran to off
hello,
your
sir.
video.
Hello,
Hello.
sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Sir, actually, I'm working on health and education level data of NSSO. So I tried to extract it, and I extracted it also. But what you were saying that there is a problem that one variable get missed. But I'm not facing that problem. I got all the variables extracted. So
Not variable. I'm talking about the number of observations.
sorry,
Have you
number of
matched your number
observations.
of?
Yes,
Yeah, you'll
yes.
get one less number of observations.
No, no, I have not got less
I have.
observations.
Please check again. If you are getting correct number of observations, then probably NSSO have made some changes after that.
Okay, okay. I have got
So, sir,
matched. Yes.
it was a technical glitch. Yeah, so probably, uh, yeah, uh, and can't think it was only happening with the my system because I got uh, to know about this issue from other students also, and I told the solution to them. So probably
Okay.
NSSO corrected that after them.
Okay, sir. Hmm.
So that might.
Hello.
Anything else?
Sir, on where?
Yes. Hello. Hello.
Sir,
Please ask. Hello.
observation.
जयराम जी आप वीडियो ऑफ कर लीजिए दाकरुचि अभी आप वीडियो ऑफ कर लीजिए अपना okay so any other doubt okay so I'm not going to revisit generating unique household ID or personal ID. I'm moving on to the next topic. In that we'll see let me open the PDF. So okay. In that we will see the generation of decile, generation of few employment indicators, as I told you at the last time, in which we will talk about the labor force participation rate, workforce participation rate, unemployment rate. After then we will see how to calculate the type of the worker. Then if time left, then we'll include the calculation of wage also. And before that, we will talk about the how to calculate the formal and informal worker. So while calculation of all these things, we'll discuss the we can say the usage of weight. We also discuss how NSSO generate this it. Though formula was given there, but that formula was based on a multiplier. So we'll talk about that also. So what that multiplier mean, how NSSO generate that multiplier, and how relevant that multiplier in our calculation. Mm, Okay, since I haven't taught you merging, okay, merging, appending the data set, do that first, okay, and then after we'll move on to the calculation of other statistics. Because merging is important. So I'm going to share a data file with you, household uh, file, first digit file, and we'll try to merge household first digit file with the personal level first digit file. After then we'll move on to the household revisit file. Then we will merge household revisit file with the personal digit file, and once we did this, we will merge first digit with the revisit file. And I hope while doing so, we'll be fully learn how to merge a different data set. So let me open this data file first. So, can you see this data screen?
No,
Now,
sir.
can you see this? No.
No.
Okay, let me then stop presenting, and I'm going to present again. Something else started presenting, so I'm stopping this one. Try to again. I'm trying. Can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you. So this one is household first visit data file. When we extract your data, it's like this. So in the right side, you are having all variables, name along with the label of those variables. Left side window one is the review command window, and the bottom window one is command window, and the main window one is the output window. So let me. So I already generated weight. Which ID I already have generated. Okay. So what I am going to do, I am going to merge household first visit data file on which I am working right now with the household, with the personal level first visit data file. So for that, what we do, we type merg, merge one is the command for merging. Then one is to on one column M, and then after we type all those variables which we use in generating unique household ID. So in that case, the first variable one is visit variable. The second one is quarter variable. Third one is FSU, first stage unit. Fourth one is Hamlet group. So Hamlet, which I renamed as Hamlet. In your data file, it is sample SG/SP number. Then after second stage startup number, then after household number. So these are the 5 variables starting with the visit, quarter, FSU, SG, sorry, 6. Visit, quarter, FSU, SG, triple S, and HSN. we can use for merging also. So this variable we have used for generating household ID. The same variable we can use for merging household first visit file with the personal level first visit file. So after then we will type using and then name of personal level revisit file. In my case, I name that FPER underscore first visit. And once I enter this, my data set has been merged with the using data file. So the file in which we start working, that called the master level file. So in my case, I have started working with the household first visit data file. So that called the master data file. The file which you want to merge with, that called the using file. So using file in my case one is personal level first visit file and master file one is household level first visit file. And it is very important in case of merging, you must know about which one is master data file and which one is personal level data file.
Excuse me, sir. So can you please explain
Yes.
this merge one is to M, like merge one and
Yeah.
then semicolon and then M. Can you please explain what
Yeah.
is this?
I'm going on to that only. That's why I'm telling you, you must have to know about okay, what is master and what is data file and which one is master level, which one is uh, using level data file. I'm coming on to that. So again, I am repeating, listen very carefully. You must identify first which one is your master data file, which one is your using data file. So master data file, the file with which we start work. So in my case, household first visit one is master data file. I'm going to merge this one with the personal level first visit data file. So if I say going to merge, that means I'm not going to transfer information of household first visit to into the personal visit data file. I'm going to import all the informations given in a personal level first visit file into the household first visit file. So that's why it's called a master file. So in the case of merging, whichever your master file, all the information come into that file instead of going out from that file. So master and using. So master is here first visit, using is here personal level first visit. Now come on to this one column M command, which we call 1:M. So if, again I'm saying if personal level data file, one is your master file and household one is the using file. So in that case, we instead writing 1:M. What we write? We write M:1. Now I'm going to explain what this 1 means and what this M mean here. Since you are working with the household level data files, I'm clearing this one. Clear use. Again, I'm importing my household level first visit file. So this one is the household level data set. So if I count the number of observations, we see now we are having a number of observations is 1,01,575, and these all are household number. So each number belong to one household. Each number observations belong to here one household. So this one is the household, because this one is the household data file, and this one is our master file. Now, so I'm going to use personal level FPER first visit data file, and if I count here So now it is 4,20,757 observation. And each observation belongs to one person. And we know more than one person belong to one household. So earlier one is the household data file. So each observation belongs to one household. And since a household having a many family member and more than one family member, so in a personal level data file, all persons belonging to a particular household information are given in a personal level data file. So there one observations belong to one person, but more than one observations belong to one household. And when we try to match household with the personal, so here you are going to merge one household information, or you can say going to match one household information with the many member of that household. And because of that reason, I written here 1 is to m. So m is here multiple. So if you assume a set, so let's suppose that there are two sets, and one set is household. So, or we can say two circle. In one circle you are having only 2 dot, and in another circle you are having a 10 dot, and each dot belong to 5 dot. So the 2 dot will become a household. The two household you can say information, and the 10 dot one is the personal data. You can say information. So if each household having a 5 member, so all member information are given in another set, and household information are given in another set. So this one is the what we call data file, household data file. Information given us separately, and personal level information given to us separately. So if you want to merge household level information with the personal level information, we require to use either 1 is to m and or m is to 1, depending upon which one is your master file and which one is your data file. So am I clear?
Yeah.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
Oh, so 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 let's suppose that, so okay, earlier we merged household to personal. Now I'm going to merge personal to household. So I'm importing earlier command, and now I'm writing m is to 1, and this one become household. Household underscore happy. See again it is fully matched. So the only problem we can say that not a problem, inconvenience in this case is, if first you are having a personal level information, at the end we are going to have a household level information. So I always advise a student to uh, make household level information as a household level data set as a master data set, and personal level data set as a using data set, and merge accordingly. So I go with this, so this become, so the last command one is household to personal level. So 1 is to m. Now you can save this one is save FB first visit data set. FB means first visit. So all the information regarding the first visit, either that belong to a household or belong to a personal level, are in a common are in a single file that we name here FB. So you clear your data set. Now bring RV household revisit. So again, if you do a count command, you get a number of observations. And if you want to merge this household revisit file with the household as a personal revisit file, then you have to use the same command 1 is to m, and here you have to right revisit. So, so now it has merged. Now you can see now we are having underscore merge one, underscore merge two, underscore merge three. Earlier in a household first visit case, we are having only underscore merge three. So these are you can say that while merging and Stata generate a new variable which we call underscore merge. If I tab underscore merge, you'll get 1 and 3 here. So underscore merge 3 means if you go with the master file and using file, so whatever data set or variable are in common both of the file, okay, that we can say and that will be fully merged. So fully matched in the one is the case of underscore merge equal to 3. Not matched divide each data is in master file, but the same is not in and information belonging to the same is not in using file. So in that case, we'll get underscore merge equal to 1. And reverse happen, then we will get underscore merge equal to 2. So in this particular case, there was 140 household, okay, who were we can say in the initial revisit data set, but somehow their personal level information are missing in person level revisit data, right? Probably because of this disappearance of those household after certain survey visit. So you go through the NSSO document, you'll get to know more about that. Even you get to know what NSSO does in case when one household is missing in the revisit schedule. So because of that, you are getting 140 observation did not match here. Now, so this one is to m and one m is to 1. There is a one more command which we say one m is to 1 is to 1. So as I told you last time, when we want to merge household to household, we use 1 is to 1. If I didn't tell you, uh, reiterating that, when you want to merge household to household, you always m is to household to person, 1 is to m or m is to 1. One more associated command one is m is to n, multiple to multiple. So I advise you to not use this particular option and take this advice very seriously. If there is a greater chances of making an error when you use this m is to m command. More about this, why there is a chances of making an error in a merging with m is to m command given in a Stata manual. So when we type help merge, so a pop-up window, a window pop-up, and when we click on the blue icon, will a PDF file will be open, and in that PDF file we'll see the detail why we can't use m is to m, and we also see the detail of 1 is to m, 1 is to 1, or m is to 1. So everything is given there. Just have a look if you want to know more about this. Second thing, in a case of merging, when we merge two data sets, we will check variable names. So sometimes what happens, particularly when we start working with the NSSO data or any kind of big data, or when you are at the beginning of, you can say, our learning stage. So in that case, let's suppose that the two data file contains a particular common information. Let's say the sector. Sector is rural and urban. So I say calculates household also contains information sector, information of sector, and personal level also contain information of sector, and both are renamed in a named in a different name. So if that is the case, then data set will be merged, but we'll get two information in a two column. So let's suppose the first data file having a 10 observations, second data file also having a 10 observations. So so when we merge, we'll get a total 20 observations, but in a sector column, first 10 observations for a first data file will become one. In a one sector column, first 10 observations you will get entry, and for rest 10 observation you will get missing observation. And with another sector column, we will get missing observation in first 10 and some information in a next 10. So to avoid that, we always name our variable same both in master data set and using data set. And this problem we face when we work with PLFS round. Because master household data set always we can say contains less information as compared to the personal level data file. So sometimes we'll get sometimes you'll get a same information in a two data set, but in a different sequence. In it, so and particularly when we name V1, V2, V3, so there's a greater chances of occurring this kind of error. So I mean to say always name your variable, a common variable in both of the data set with the name, same name. So any doubt from merging?
Hello, sir.
Now? Yes.
Can we merge M is to 1 or 1 is to M by unique ID only?
Yes, we can. But try to avoid doing that, because again there are the chances of making a peculiar kind of error, which we never get to know unless when we start getting your estimates incorrect. And I'm saying why? Because unique ID we made using concatenating command. Soegen equal to unique ID equal to concatenate, and under bracket we put all our primary variable. So what happened if when we change the order of your primary variable within bracket, you will get a unique ID. So let's suppose that you generated one unique ID using household data file, a particular order of primary variable, or in another data file, you made a mistake and generated a unique ID using a different order of primary variable. So in both of the data set, we get a unique ID, but ID are different. So when you do merging, you will get a problem. So they instead of merging, they append the data set appended, because in both ID can't be matched when you change your order. So that one is the one problem. Sometimes what happens, people instead of using a concatenating command, they simply use a group command. So group one is another way for making unique ID usingegen command. So suppose theegen unique ID equal to group and then primary key. So in that case, instead of concatenating of different information, what we get a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. So for each observation, Stata generate a unique ID for you. So in a different data set, when you change your order and use the group command, again you will get 1, 2, 2, 3. And when we merge your data set, that will exactly merge. But again say there's the chances of uh, having an incorrect merging, and at that time you didn't get to know, you do not get to know about that. But what happened when we estimate, when you do estimation and match that your estimates with the report, and when estimates does not match, and when we start inquiring about the problem, we will come onto that you have done merging incorrectly. So that's why I always tell you, instead of going with the unique ID, always use this primary key. And doing this help you to remember all these primary key. So anytime when you require to generate a unique ID, you just type all these things, and when you work with the data set, many times you do merging, demerging, and so in all the cases when you memorize all these primary key variables, that help you a lot. So any other doubt? Okay. So what we have done till now, we merge household first visit data file with the personal level first visit, and household revisit with the personal level revisit. So this one is for revisit. So I'm going to save this one. Save revisit. So now we are having a two file. One is the first visit file and another one is revisit file. I named here first FB and RB. Let's suppose that you want to merge first visit with the revisit. So you want to bring all data together at one place or in a single file. So what command do you use? So in that case, you use 1:m. Let me think a bit. Okay, think like this. And now your first visit data file having a multiple household record and single personal level record. Single personal level record and each observations. So when we go with the number of observations, then we see many observations belong to, or you can say multiple observations belong to one household, but only one observations belong to a personal, belong to one person. Similarly, in case of revisit, there are multiple household information, but only one personal level information. So in case of merging with the first visit to the revisit, what we do, we go with this command, merge 1:1, and now I'm skipping visit and quarter, and then visit and quarter. Okay, let's skip visit and quarter. Okay, include visit and quarter, though it will not work. This command will probably not work. So visit, quarter, because these are the primary key, FSU, HG, triple S, HSN, and then we have to use personal serial number. And then using, if I go with the first visit, now I'm merging revisit with the first visit. So first visit again And if you go with the data set, so first visit contains all household informations and their members informations who had visited only one time in a year. So either a household visited in a first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, or fourth quarter. In a revisit data file, the same household visited again, but here that household visited more than one time in a revisit data file. So as I am telling you, okay, a household visited first time, report given in a first visit, and household visited the same household visited other time in during the year, information given in a revisited file. So a household visited in a first quarter, visited in a second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, like this. So multiple personal level information are given in a revisit file, and only one personal level information given in a first visit file. So in this case, this would be, instead of going to be 1:1, this would be the M:1 first visit. And let's see if this work. Sec merge already defined, so let's drop merge from here. Save this one because you have to drop the merge from first visit also. So first visit drop dot merge and save first. Now let's again start with the revisit, and I'm going to use this but again command and enter. So see here, the match is 0. So data set did not match. Instead of matching, the data has been appended. It has happened because we have used visit and quarter information as a primary key variable while doing merging. If I clear this one and again import revisit and type the same command, what excluding visit and quarter, and then merge. Now it is it is merged and correctly merged. So 450,624 information are common in both master file and first visit file and revisit file, or you can say that revisit is master file, so master file and using file. Yes.
Can you please explain this excluding and non-excluding thing once again, because your voice is a little bit breaking, so I could not hear it properly.
Let me just earphone. So I am talking about the excluding visit and quarter. In a case when we merge first visit or revisit data file with the first visit data file. So why we require to do so? But as I told you, your single household visited many times. So when a household visited first time, informations regarding that household given in a first visit data file. And when the same household visited next time, or in a subsequent quarters, all revisited information and information collected at the time of revisiting that household are given in a revisit data files. So when we use visit and quarter for generating a unique ID either at a household level or a personal level, so a unique household in that case generated using visit and quarter information. So if a household visited 4 times, so 4 unique ID will be generated for that household. 1 unique ID for first visit, first quarter. Second unique ID each second visit, second quarter. Third visit, a third unique ID, third visit, third quarter. And fourth unique ID only, fourth visit, fourth quarter. That means when we use visit and quarter, you get a 1 unique ID of the same inform and 1 unique ID for each visit in a different quarter. So first, in a case of first visit, like when we are merging first visit with the revisit, so and in that case you use visit and quarter informations. So in that case, the ID remain unique, but ID are different in 2 different files. In the first visit file, ID is different, entirely different, though that one is the unique ID. In the revisit file, again you are having a unique ID, but that ID one is entirely different from the first visit data file. And because of that, when we merge, instead of merging data set, so for a merging, ID remains same. For a merging, ID remains same in both of the data file. So that 1 merge with 1, 2 merge with the 2, third merge with the third. And to avoid that, we excluded visit and quarter and used only other primary key along with the personal serial number for doing merging. And any of visit and quarters informations are only in the case of PLS data set. Like PLS is a periodic labor survey. So in other NSSO data set, you do not get visit and quarter information. So in that case, primary keys for household each FSU, SG, triple S, and HSN. And for personal level, you add personal level information, which one is the PSN here. In some of the NSSO data set, we do not have HG, Hamlet group. Only 3 primary key, FSU, triple S, and HSN. Primarily in the disability data set, which one is also released by NSSO very recently, 76th round. In the 76th round, you do not have HG information. There we are only having a 3 primary key at a household level, FSU, triple S, and HSN. Okay, so any doubt till now?
What is personal serial number? I don't find in any label.
It is given in a personal label 3 and 4. We get information regarding PSN. PSN.
I can find information serial number, but
personal serial number is given there. Person serial number. So take your layout file or your data file will get personal serial number. Like I'm pointing you here in my data file, personal serial number.
It is created, or sir, it is this variable is created.
No, it's not a created variable. It's already provided by.
I haven't found.
It's provided by NSS. So in a search window, type personal serial number, we'll get that. Something like that.
Sir, I typed, but I didn't get.
Okay, you will get later. So continuing to be with my word. So you will get later when we search with the cool mind only.
Okay.
But it is there.
And sir, another is when I use merge command 1 to m and use FSU samples and second stage datum or sample household without PSN, it's showing error. The
No,
variable.
when we have
Okay.
to merge uh, person to person, we require to use PSN. Without PSN, we can't.
Okay.
Okay. So any other doubt?
Not yet.
So instead of
Yes.
M is to 1, we can also use 1 is to 1 because first visit and revisit both are having the personal level information. Then
But but,
why we are not
but
using?
record. Shivani, reports are many in a revisit file. So there are multiple record of a single person.
Okay, okay, sir.
So, so that's right. Any other
Okay,
doubt?
sir.
So this much in case of merging. So there is nothing much more that we tell from my side. This much I know that I told you. Now let's move on to the weight. So formula of weight we have discussed last time, and that one is generate weight equal to MLT divided by 200 and replace weight MLT divided by 100 if NSC equal to NSS. Last time, one among of you asked me, sir, what is the full form of NSS and NSC? So I searched about it, but I didn't get. I get one full form of NSC that is used by NSSO, but that one is not relating to this. NSS and NSC1 is a generated variable, and it is based on sub-block information. So NSSO use a multi-stage stratification sample design, and in the last stage, after second stage starter, for you can say for each, and in the last stage there are two categories, 1 and 2. So in some of the stratum case or sub-stratum case, there is only one category, and in some cases there is a two category. So when category match one, uh, so in that case NSS become NSC. And in case of NSS equal to NSC, we divide multiply with the 100. Otherwise, you divide multiply with the 200, and we divide multiply with the 100 and 200. Okay, just because of this sub block. Wherever you are having a sub block equal to 1, we multiply with the 100. If sub block is 2, we multiply with the 200. And 100 we add instead of multiplying 1 and 2 because multiplied information are given in a 2 decimal. So, so and because and that is the reason of dividing 100 with it or 200. So using that formula, which has been provided by the NSSO, uh, we generate weight, and we use that weight for calculating uh, population statistics. And so, if I say if I clear this one and go on to our first visit data file, first visit data file, no data, use first visit data. One is a personal level information, and now it is having a both household and personal level information. So it is a combined, and this data set having a combined information of household and personal level data. So let's suppose that if you social group, this one is MPC variable. There is a one MPC variable, which one is household monthly consumer expenditure. So if you want to calculate the mean or average household consumption expenditure, so for that you use this command mean MPC over. So for a rural and urban area, I have gotten here mean, or you can say average consumption expenditure of a household. If I use, so I'm not going to uh, rate the average figure. If I use the weight here and I use population weight and type here weight and sector. So again I get an average consumption expenditure, but now my average consumption expenditure in case of rural area is lower and in urban area is higher. So the point to note is here, you are getting a different figure when you are using weight as compared to when you are using and when you are not using weight. First one is the simple statistics, because that has been calculated only using the information given in the sample. And the second one is basically we can say again then this data using the same information given in the data set, but this data, and you can say extrapolating. Extrapolating, I think it's not a correct word. This data converted that sample population statistics. So in an average, when we calculate an average, what we do, the simple formula one is sum of n divided by sum of n. So suppose the average consumption. So let's suppose the consumption data is x, and there are 100 people. So you are having a 100 people or household, whatever you can say, household. Let's suppose that. So you are having a household 100 household information of consumption. So when we calculate the average figure, what we do, we add consumption expenditure and divided by number of household. So that one was x divided by n. So n is number of observation. So let's suppose that when you work with the sample data set, this n correspond to 100 people only, but in a case of population, n become 1,000. N become 1,000. What about the x? X still you are having a 100, and you can say household information of x. So Stata what does? Stata incorporate this, which one is nothing else but it is a multiplier. Okay. And formula of getting a multiplier in case of NSSO is very much complicated. The same is given in a instruction to the same is given in a estimation procedure. If you go with that, then you will get to know the formula of getting the multiplier. In a simple case, I am telling you example. This is this one is a random sampling. Sometimes so to get choose a one particular element. using a random technique. If there are 100 members, we pick one out of that 100, and in a random sampling, we assure that the probability of getting a selection of each of the element remains same for remains same. So the probability of getting a one element out of 100 is 1/100. If you go without replacement, then probability of selection of second element is 1/99, and so on. If you go with a replacement, then it remains same 1/100. So in a sampling case, in a random sampling case, we ensure that the probability remains same for all the elements. So that probability gives us a value of multiplier. So inverse of probability one is the multiplier. So in a simple random sampling case, we just pick one and calculate the probability. In a stratified case, since there is a division of rural urban, after having a rural urban division, there are many more divisions, which we call the stratum, substratum, second stage stratum. Then after you are having a subblock. In between you are having a FSC, first stage unit. So in NSSO it is a very difficult, but just you assume that this one is a multiplier, and when you incorporate this multiplier, we will get a population statistics. The incorporation of this, as I told you, will remain what if you are having only 100 information of X, though you are n increasing to 1000, but your X remains same. No, you are not. We do not keep X remains same. You also multiply X with this multiplier to get a population statistics. So in a simple random case, might be population and sample statistics remain same, but in a stratified sampling case, or where you are having a different chances of probability of selecting a different number of different elements, there you will get a different figures. There will get a different case of sample and population statistics, and there getting here. And anyway, when we calculate the average, the multiplier doesn't. Okay, the ratio. Okay, that one is a different task. Sorry, I'm not going to that one. Uh, uh, I'm not going to with that much technical. So that I think we require a blackboard and other thing. I'm stopping here. So that one is the use of multiplier. So we multiply or we use multiplier for making our sample statistics equal to the population statistics. And this one is the one example of that. So in our earlier command, I have used population weight. Okay, sorry. Any doubt till now? And I hope here you are having a many doubt. Okay. So if you have something immediate to ask, then ask. Otherwise, we go ahead. Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Sir, please give one command yes. for state level.
State level, okay. We'll come on to that.
Okay, sir.
We'll come to go to the tabulations. I will be the state.
Okay, sir.
Sir, when you were talking about multiplier in the README file, it was written if you have to calculate annually, you have to multiply it by the number of quarters. So, are we going to multiply if we are only using first visit?
For the yearly estimates, even in a couple of visit, we have to multiply with the 4. But when you want to have a quarterly estimates, then in that case, we go ahead with the first generated weight. Already rated weight variable by 4. So that means you are going to create a new weight. Which one is just a 4th 4th of vacancy in the original weight. Yes. Not 4th of, but 25th of original, sorry. Okay, so let's move ahead. So in this weight things, I talked about I used here population weight. There is one more kind of weight that we frequently use that we call the AW, analytical weight. Analytical weight. So when you use this again gave us same information. So till now I haven't found any difference between analytical weight and population weight. So so population one is basically inverse of probability, analytical one is the inverse of variance of probability. So if you want to know more about what is the inverse of variance of probability, type again health weight, and when with this type a window pop up, and if you go onto the blue icon, we get a more information about the analytical weight and population weight. The third type of weight one is the frequency weight. So FW. So FW we when we require to get estimates in number or number estimates, like number of people unemployed, number of people currently employed, number of people who are part of labor force. That include both employed and unemployed people. Number of people who are not seeking any kind of employment. So in that case, you use for a number, you use frequency weight. There is one more weight that called the I weight, importance weight. In an NSSO case, I weight work, and it give you a same information as population weight, as far I remember. Though I do not use I weight because again it has a complication. It based on a programming, a certain kind of programming. So if you want to estimate a particular or estimates, you do that kind of programming and use importance weight. But somehow it worked with the NSSO case, and I saw many people using this I weight instead of using population weight. So I always recommend everyone to use the population weight for getting average statistics, and F weight uh, for getting a number. I think people use your I weight for a number because I remember when I was in my PhD, I was struggling to getting a correct number, and when I approached one of my senior, he was working in a kind of one research institute, and he told me to use I weight instead of F weight. But when I asked why I do use I weight, why not frequency weight for getting a number? So even he had no explanation, and even I did not bother to get to know about why. Uh, in case of NSSO, IW gives a correct information with that particular kind of data set and not the way of weight. So it remains a question. If you inquire about that, then I think you will become true answer of it.
So if we,
I only know.
sorry.
So I'm saying I only know I wait about that it use a particular kind of programming or for generating a particular kind of this. Yes, you can.
If we are doing cross tabulations like the people number of people caste wise and all of that, then we should use F weights, or like in religion, like cross tabs religion wise or caste wise. And
F weight we get we we use for getting big numbers, statistics in number, and in average is also a number. But I'm saying the numbers, a number of unemployed, number of scheduled caste people, number of scheduled tribe people, number of Hindu people, something like that. So if you
okay,
want
so that will
to
be an
have a
F weight.
number, F weight, yeah, frequency weight. If that
Okay.
gives you a frequency.
Okay.
That's why
Okay.
you have the frequency. That both of my frequency way.
Okay. Thank you.
If you want to have a frequency, then you use that way. I don't also give a frequency, especially in case of NSSO. So we check that. Any
Okay.
other doubt?
No, thank you.
I remember when I started working with the NSSO and come across this way, I struggle a lot to know about the what is multiplier, how do I incorporate multiplier. There is a one more command, SBY command, survey setting command. So, that I'm not going to discuss. Okay. So I remember there was a over and one. I was struggling to generate that command. There is a set of command, SBY command. First, we have to define what is SBI. So I failed to decide. Ultimately, I got in contact of one of ISI professor, something called Abhijit for that. So I wrote a mail and he immediately replied to me with a full set of commands. How we set SBY using state. So so I'm just telling you is something, and I got to know about him using one of the his PPT, uh, which was literally available on that time. So I just searching on the Google, I come across that PPT. In that PPT, he talked about this SBY, though he didn't explain much in that PPT. So his email ID was written in there. So I contacted immediately, and immediately I got up. Within 5 or 6 minutes, I got a reply from him. So and that that sets of command not only solved many of my doubts, okay, but uh, the one doubt, major doubt I remember at that time was with me, if and considering an SSO survey as a finite survey or an infinite survey. And that one is the major bone of contention while making that SBY, setting a SBY command in a NSSO. If you want to know more about the SBY, then if you type SBY, help SBY, it's data produce about information about that. There you can see the figure of how to set a SBY survey setting command using survey data set. And there is a discussion of finite and infinite sample. And I were unable to decide if, whether I consider NSSO as a finite sample or a infinite sample. What is my first stage unit, second stage unit? And he immediately explained to me. So it was really you can say a, a valuable gift to me at that time, and that helped me to understand what this multiplier means. And along with this, since I have told to you, I was struggling with this over a month. So I contacted everyone in the JNU except Ivansu sir, okay? And for getting the information to what this multiplier mean and how to I use multiplier. But unfortunately, I didn't get answer of this. Uh, of course, within my context, I explained JNU, but JNU didn't have an answer of it at that time. So finally, I decided to meet Ivansu sir and raise my query. But before that, I got answer from you. So that was the story of my starting with the multiplier. Okay, sorry for this. Any other doubt? Can you move ahead?
So, one thing,
Yes.
when we use frequency weights, it won't allow a non-integer
Yes.
weight. So, can you please tell, we can round them off and then we can use them, no?
Definitely. Any other uh, doubt? Okay, so now I'm going to share a PPT with you. So I'm going to stop this as a data
Sir,
presentation.
sir, I have one question, sir. which is that, sir, why we divided NSSO data hai, and with the variable with 200 or 100 instead of while we in NFHS we use, I think we divided national sample with around 1 billion, 1
That
million,
one is
sorry.
because of in a case of NSSO, multiplied information are given in a two decimal.
Okay,
So in a two decimal case, we multiply divide with the 100. But in
okay,
a NSSO, because I told you that there is a one block and two block. In some of the cases, you are having a two block. In more many and in many of the cases, you are having a two block, the sampling design, and in some of the cases, you are having only one block. So in a one block case, NSS equal to NS. So in that case, we we divide with the 100. Otherwise, we divide with the 200. In
okay.
two block case, we divide with the 200. So that one is a part of sampling design. And that in a case of NFHS, give us multiplier information in a million decimal, just as you were telling. So that you divide with it, I think 1 million or 10,000, something like that. But you are correct.
Thank
So how
you.
to generate a weight information provided by every I can say uh, a survey in advance to along with the read file. So that's why read file is very important. So I'm stopping this presentation. I'm going to present a PPC slide before you, and that PPT. So most of the things I explained through you in the PPT, but it's already 3:24. I hope I will finish that PPT by half an hour, and then after we'll calculate PV statistics. So it's so can you see the PPT? It's a PDF basically.
No, sir.
No.
This topic presentation I'm going to present. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Make a full slide. This one is a Foxit reader. So anybody among you tell me how I make full slides? Next view. Okay, I'm going ahead with this. I'm not getting that one. Otherwise, I can have to stop my presentation and move on to the Acrobat. So is it okay, or shall I use
Yes.
Acrobat reader?
It's fine, sir.
Okay, then. So this one is the second part. You can see the contents are here. First, we discuss the generation of design variable. Then, after few employment indicators. Then, uh, calculation of workers, type of worker basically, self-employed, salary workers, and casual workers. then we discuss formal worker, and after then time left we discuss the calculation of wages. So the all blue text are basically command. You just have to rename variable name according to your data set, and when you copy it into your new file editor, it works. So here I have generated monthly per capita expenditure deciles. Because according to it, we determine, uh, you can say, and you can determine income class, you can say. So this one is one of the, you can say, uh, indicator of defining who is poor, who is non-poor, who is, uh, belong to the poorest of the poor group, and so on. So, so decile, I mean here when we divide population into 10 equal parts. So in monthly per capita expenditure is given in our data set. So we generated, sorry, monthly household expenditure information given in our data set. So we require to generate monthly per capita expenditure. So MC is the monthly consumption expenditure divided by household size. So when you divide with the household size, you get a monthly per capita expenditure. PC tile one is the command that give you, you can say, but the upper limit of each decile. So as I said, when we are going to divide population into 10 equal parts using MPC variable, that is called income decile. So for each decile, PC tile command give you a, can say, the benchmark. That's we also call the benchmark. I use this one, and that means if, for a first decile, if you are having a 10 number, cutoff number you can see. So you are this give you a, for each decile, this command give you a cutoff numbers. So the first one is the PC tile command. Decile R1 is variable name for rural area. PW weight I have used for a sector 1, and here I am NQ options. And it, uh, uh, give you a option to whether you are going to divide the population into 10 part or 100 part or 5 part. So in a quantile case, we know if you divide population into 5. So if you write 10, that means you are going to divide your population into 10 equal part using MPC variable. So that's why NQ10. So the first command PC tile decile CR give you 10 9 cutoffs for the ruler decile variable. The second one is give you again 9 cutoff for a urban decile variable. And when we type this tab decile R, we see those numbers similarly for urban area. The second one is, can you see it now? It is very small.
Yes.
Yes,
It
sir.
is visible, generate decile equal to 1. Otherwise, I move my PPT.
Sir, it is visible.
Okay, then fine. So next one is these are the set of command through which we can generate decile variable for road, rural and urban area. So like generate decile 1 if MPC. So as I told you, initially you get a cutoff number for each decile. So this one is the first cutoff number for first decile. So all the household per capita household consumptions below 777.77 rupees, they fall into a first decile. Greater than 777 and less than 916 for a second decile, and so on. So these are the set of commands through which we can say generate decile for rural and urban area. So third one is So when you use this, it this variable will be generated. The third one is, so here we are talking about the key employment and unemployment indicators. The first one is the labor force participation rate. The formula is given here: number of employed person plus number of employed per person divided by total population into 100. And look here, activity status code are given here. So all, and it varies between 11 to 99. So the all the person whose activity status code are 11 to 72, we consider them as a worker. 80 to 80, 81 and 82, we consider them unemployed, and for rest of the codes we consider not in labor force. And these codes play a very important role for generating number of employed person and number of unemployed person. I thought to uh, use this particular round. One reason of uh, doing this, recently I have used this particular round for writing a paper which I sent to EPW. So I wrote that paper along with the Shivani, who is here. And so, so it is a convenience for me. The second reason which compelled of doing this, one is the current crisis, which one is the COVID-19, we can say pandemic. In this, as we know, many of the people have lost their job. Many of the people chosen to be out of labor force, and many of them who are part of labor force actively seeking for getting employment. And in this day, you are in almost on a daily basis, not in a daily basis, in a very frequently you are getting information about all these things. Particularly in the newspaper, I'm not talking about the media channel. They never discuss all these things. But in a newspaper, we'll get all this information. Recently, there is a controversy regarding the employment and unemployment figures. The people who belong to the left group, they are saying the unemployment has gone by a greater extent what NSSO or what government claims using this PLFS round. Even this, if you look under the CMI report, they are also talking about unemployment is higher as compared to the government claim level of unemployment. Similarly, the workforce participation rate, government is claiming that if, as compared, and if you talk about the pre-COVID crisis, so the pre-COVID time period for 1920, it was in that case 1920 unemployment rate, although higher compared to 1718, but if you go across the category, then you find that there is actually decline in employment uh, in case of women as compared to the men. So men has gained some employment, but women lost employment during this period. Similarly, if you relate with the growth with the employment, so since last 1 decade, we are having a jobless growth. So those all these things are related with these things. You daily get to know something about all these things from a newspaper. So I thought it would be better to use this one, PLFS round, instead of using any other round of NSSO. So, and I hope many of you know about all these things. So, anyway, anyone, our objective is not to discuss all those things. So let's move on next. So this one is the formula for generating a labor force participation. So this codes are there. We just have to use the generate command, and we get to know about the labor force. So in a labor force participation case, as I told you, the formula tells to calculate number of employed person, then number of unemployed person, then total population, and after then we have to use this particular formula for getting a labor force participation. So here three A calculation of three indicators involve implied person, number of unemployed person, and total population. For getting a level four, we are using other indicators that so this one is one is the status and subsidiary status. Go with the definition of employment, unemployment, and labor force. There are three approaches of calculating it. One is the usual status, weekly status, and daily status. And all these approaches divide again subdivided into the principal status and usual subsidiary status. So, and when we talk about the particular employment indicator, it would be better to consider both equal status and subsidiary status. So I on here, and if you go with, we are able to calculate principal status plus subsidiary status. And this one is the table command. Here, since I am estimating annual estimates of the above indicator, so I am using C weight one. Frequency weight I am using. So this give you a number of labor force across state, across gender, across sector. So this one is the important, particularly for today purpose. So table we can use for making table. So table is command here. Another command is tabulate command that we also use for making a table. Both are used in a different way. More information about the table and tabulate provided by Stata itself. When you type in table or tab, you can get information about. So these are, you can say the state are here, the row, 6 in sector are column. So one is the super column, another one is the column itself. What is super column? What is column? So for that, let's suppose that is in a column you are having a sector variable, and in a sub column you are having a gender variable, male and female. So the gender variable one is, I think, become a super column, and sector become a column, the top one. And in a row you are having a state. So row variable is the state here, 6 and sector are column and super column and column. This one is the weight variable that I told you to use for getting a population statistics. And this C1 is the option, column option, N1 is the number, and N is basically again for getting a number, and labor force one is the variable which I have generated earlier. And row one is give you the row percentage, column give you a column, column give you a, in this case row give you a row total and column give you a column total. When we calculate average figure, row give us a row percentage, column give us column percentage. Like if I give you an example, let's suppose that if you want to look at labor force distributions across the state for gender in rural area. So if I use the column percentage, then it's give you if I use the row percentage, then it give you for in each state how many rural, how many male and female in rural and urban area are part of labor force. If I use the column percentage, then it's give you across state. Then the column become 100, column become total. So it's give you a male employment across all state for a rural and urban area, female employment across all state for a rural and urban area. I think you are not able to get. Can I? Okay. For this again, I have to move on to this data. So okay, we'll do this when we do the practical. That's right. This slides one is for generating a population. So the first one is the command generate n equal to 1, and this one is the again tabulating across state, sector, and gender. And here I am used n. So n is for numbers and n is my variable. So that's why you see n. And with this, I get a number of male, female across the state for rural and urban area. And that one is the population number, remember.
So, what is
Yeah.
format percentage 12? This after column.
This one is for getting your data in a particular format. But it is, let suppose that sometimes what happens is you are here, you try to get a number, so number goes in millions. So if you do not go with this for this particular option, then uh, your value will be something like this: 1.05 E07 or 05. Generally, you get that type of value. So instead of getting that value, what we instruct this data to produce full value
Okay.
in a
Okay.
number. So that give you the whole numbers to you.
Okay,
So
sir.
millions count is 6 number, billions comes with the 9 number. Sorry,
Okay, sir.
9. Yeah. So that one. So once you have a total population and labor force participation, we use the formula given in that table for getting a labor force participation. Or for that you use Excel. This one is for generating a employment unemployment. Here I generated employment unemployment and not part of labor force. So one is for employment, two is for unemployment, and three is for not part of labor force using both principal status and subsidiary activity status. When we do that, we will get all those figures. This one is just a command, and here I immediately use if. So if you know uh, or if you are familiar with the stata command, then we easily get to know why we use f. F is the basically here we impose a condition. We direct stata to use particular information for producing a particular statistics. So with if command we specify our data and we search data to use that data only. WPR again workforce participation rate, so based on a formula. So first we get employment, then we will get total population. When we divide not total population, this should be the labor force. So WPR in our earlier case here, okay, sorry, total population. Number of employed person divided by total population. Okay. So this one is first we get the total number of employed, then we will get total population and use above the formula to get workforce participation. This one is for unemployment. So I generated unemployment and then tabulated unemployment. This give you a number of unemployed people across state, sex, gender and sector. So the earlier one using this usual status approach, the next this one is using a uh, weekly status approach, current weekly status approach. So in a usual status approach, we consider an entire year as uh, a recall period, sort of recall entire year as a sample period for generating particular statistics, and in a weekly status approach, we consider previous week year status of a particular individual for getting current weekly statistics. In a usual case, we consider entire year, previous one entire year engagement of a particular individual for generating employment statistics. So these all are the technical aspects. If you want to work with employment and unemployment, go ahead with this. Otherwise, many of you do not going to work with employment and unemployment. So we try your hand with the other type of the data set on which we supposed to work. So this one is the calculation of which is, again I think better to skip this. So again, this one is using current weekly status approach. So here you on daily basis, I have calculated the wage for each individual uh, who having a employment status, because only employed people get wage. That's one is I also. So so for each individuals, I calculated daily wage earning according to their principal and usual status. After then, I added all week wage earning to get a weekly wage earning. Once I have gotten a weekly wage, I divided with the number of days worked. So there is a definition of definition how when we say a person has worked for a full day and when we say person has worked for a half day. So in a PLFS case, uh, in a CWS particularly, we define person work day if person work more one or more than 1 hour in a day. So so that person is employed for a 1 day. So let's suppose that here uh, we are taking a 1 year, sorry, 1 week prior 1 week prior of survey date for generating a employment. You ask individual whether he applied last day, whether he applied last to last day, which one is the sixth, which one is the second day, then third day, last third day, fourth day, and so on. And if person say, okay, I implied only 1 hour in a last week, so you consider that person as an implied person. But for a calculation of wage, particularly in the day work, we consider that employment day is one only. They consider that as an employment even when he worked for a day for a 1 hour in the last 7 days. But for a wage calculation, we consider 1 day work day only. So that one is the difference. And I want to work. So let's keep this one into a mind. So that give you a average week earning for each individual, or we can calculate it by type of work also, or type of employment. As you know, some people are semi-employed, some people are regular wage salary earner, some are daily wage earner. So when you use this, you can get this, and when you want to calculate wage across this type of worker, we can do that. That I have done here. This give you a per day wage in the last. Again in all these things, I'm using only table command, and here I am using the quarter wise estimate. So for a quarter, remember I am using another weight. Which one is not divided by the 4. So weight 1 PW population weight I am using here. Why I am using here population weight? Because I am using I am trying to get a average wage earning of an individual. So that's why I'm written here mean total wage earning across uh, quarter, gender, and sector. So here you get a quarterly estimates, average estimates of male, female for a rural and urban area. This one is for formal and informal. Again, there is a definition of formal and informal. So all those who work in a uh, unorganized sector and not getting any kind of benefit either from their employer or government, social security benefit I'm talking about. Social security benefits, all those people who do not get any kind of social security benefit either from employer or government uh, while working in a organized sector or unorganized sector, they are basically the informal worker. So the information regarding this is given in a PLFS. When you use that, we get formal and informal worker information. So this much uh, for this presentation. I'll share this presentation with you all commands are here. If you want to calculate these indicators, may you use it in future when you work with any employment or unemployment data set. This will
Hello,
help
sir.
you. Yes, yes.
Yeah, sir, can you please also share the extracted data file? Because I would want to match the commands that you have written, with the names you have written. I would want to match those with the data file you have, the names you have written. So then only the
For
commands would be helpful.
and here I'm a bit reluctant to share there. And there's objective of doing that because when we made mistake, we learn one new thing. At least we learn one new thing. So and that's why I always encourage people to do mistake.
Okay.
So better you experiment with yourself, okay? So that will not learn what I am teaching to you or I am sharing the information with you, but you also learn many more things. It goes beyond it, and that happens only when we experiment. So
Great.
just okay.
Yeah.
So keep doing that. So I'm stopping this one with a note that uh, since we're talking about here, I have talked about the calculating a number. Uh, so when we work with the PLFS around data set and huge weight to get a population statistics. Okay, the numbers we get, uh, can say the numbers we get for any indicator, for example, employment, unemployment, labor force, then it does not correspond to the numbers of year 2018 and 19. The survey is for year 18 and 19, but the number we get not correspond to the year 18 and 19. And this is because NSSO has not calibrated 2000 or calibrated estimates of PLFS round with the projected populations and using census information. So, try to we are till now I was talking about for using way to get a population statistics. So there is a statistics we get in terms of average or in terms of ratio. Statistics we also get in terms of number. But in a case of number, whatever number we get using weight variable, population weight variable, that number does not uh, a, a true number, not uh, not be a true number for year 2018 and 19. Because in a defining a multiplier, NSSO used a 2011 census figure instead of using a projected census figure for 2018 and 19. So if I talked about the employment, I can't, let's suppose that I'm getting an employment of and unemployed, let's suppose that there are 100 million people are unemployed in India 2018-19. So making a statement kind of probably a incorrect statement. According to this data set, since NSSA used a 2011 population figure for generating a multiplier, so we can say that 1 million population are unemployed without mentioning the year. So, and there is somebody may ask a question, then why NSSO did not do this? Why NSSO did not you can say calibrated or calibrated or use NSSO estimates with the projected population. So again, there is a to and fro argument. You can say there is a argument in support of this, and there is an argument in against of this. Okay, uh, many experts like PC Mohan, Parnab Sen, uh, and even the ISI Kolkata uh, did not, uh, or you can say, do not favor of user, do not did not comes in a favor, uh, did not come in a favor of using these uh, projected populations uh, in a calculation of an SSO estimates. And for them, for these, they gave an argument that we are dealing with the sample data set, and if you go with the past records, then we see that NSSO always given underestimates of population figure as compared to the census. And they gave a data, and they saw that in some of the cases, and NSSO estimates of population varies between 15 to 18, and depending upon whether we are dealing with the rural area and urban area. So, and ultimately they are saying if for a sample purposes, there and if, better statistics one is the ratio and average statistic instead of number, because anyway projected population is not a correct population number. That is also comes using a particular formula. And even census have seen that the census on projections of population for a next decades, okay, differ with the actual figure when actually census conducted. So, or when actually census figures comes out for that particular year. So there is always a difference between the figures. Either you use the population projected population figure or NSSO estimates of populations with the actual census figure. And because of that reason, probably they recommended to not use the projected population figure uh, for the PLFS round. I do not know about the other round. So always check for this when we write a research paper uh, and where we have to use the number. So this one is the suggestion from my side. When we read more, we get to know more about it. So this much. Any doubt from here?
Yes, sir. So when I applied the weight to the, like as you were saying, but after applying weights, the total number of like the population size comes out to be around 105 crores. So I think that's in congruence with the 2011 census data. So that thing is clear. But if we want to, like after we get our results, if we want to match it with the 2018 population figure, supposedly we get a table according to 2011 population estimates. Can we like match it to the 2018 to just give a prediction? I'm not saying it's totally correct, but can we give a prediction for 2018 by just matching those population figures?
For that, we required to know, need to know how we generate the multiplier. So have a look on the formula of multiplier. If you are able to understand that, you are able to get to know more on this. I'm not saying you are able to, but ultimately we require information. So earlier, what happened with the older round? I think NSSO region was the uh, and at an NSSO regional level, we calculate multiplier. So an NSS region population figure we get from the census. From the census. Later, what happened? Since though more stratification happened, though sample design remains same, but now the population's figure, of course, population figure, we here I'm thinking this one is a multi-stage stratification. So there is a NSSO region which we call strata. There is a stratification, sub-stratification of that. So we get a stratification for rural area, but no stratification for urban area. Once you move on to the sub-stratification, then after there is a hamlet group, second strata, and so on. So for generating a weight, we need to know the population figure at all these stages. Suppose that if a sample household belong to a particular household or urban block, we get to know about the population of that urban block or that village. If you do not have that, then it will be impossible for you for generating a weight. And that one is the we can say the greater obstacles of uh, corresponding 2011 estimates to the 2018-19.
Got it.
Okay, so NSSO, I was reading the document last night only. When I got more curious knowing about it, then I got to know that NSSO has promised National Statistical Commissions, okay, at the time of releasing this report, 2017-18 report I'm talking about. 2017, which one is the first TLFS report, NSSO and National Statistical Commissions taken a consideration of releasing another report, which one is the best of calibrating the projected population with the NSSO on estimate. Calibrating the NSSO estimates with the projected census population. But unfortunately, you haven't gotten any document till now. NSSO haven't not released any document relating with that till now. So it's happened. It's some, and when we go with the argument, many people or many people criticize NSSO PLFS RAM, particularly the people who belong to a JNJ, particularly who belong to the left, not entire JNU left. They criticize of manipulating with the NSSO statistics. That was the one criticism. But also there is a argument in favor of not using projected population figure for giving estimates and giving NSSO estimates. So we have to read both of the aspects before making any statements. More clarity always way to read what I'm saying. So any other question? So the objective of this webinar is to introduce you to the NSSO dataset, particularly get you know how to extract the NSSO dataset. There are many things that you can explore further, not only in terms of calculating different statistics, but also in terms of knowing more about the NSSO sampling data. So NSSO sampling data is, I think, one is the complex design in the world. And because of that complex sampling data, NSSO has been placed by the other international bodies many times. So, but now the NSSO, I think, dilution is happening everywhere. Every institution is getting diluted by the present regime, you can say. But the same is happening with the NSSO. And because of that reason, since last few years, NSSO have been in so much controversy. NSSO, I remember at my during my PhD, you always and you can say you always feared कि नया data ना आ जाए. I remember when I was basically I started working with the consumption expenditure survey. So initially data were available till 2004 and 5. Suddenly 2009 data, 9 data 10 come, and after we got to know about the Prolo 2009 10 data sheet. Then 2011 12 comes. So at the PhD time, you always get fear about that data update ना हो जाए, काम बढ़ जाएगा. And that was and since I was working with the international FSO data set also, so I always feared कि FSO नया data set release ना कर दे, फिर से काम बढ़ जाएगा. So that much we feared at that time. But now we are facing in such a situation in which we are not getting data to work. Consumption expenditure data set, NSSO did a survey on that, but did not allow to release that. And आज जो researcher है, I'm even many people querying with me कि sir, have you any idea कि particular data कब release हो रहा है? Now they are looking for a data कि data मिले और अपनी PhD पे काम करें. So that is the difference between when I was doing PhD, always fear of getting a release of new data set, but now people are looking for a new data set. The government is not releasing. So that's happening. Okay. By the way, any doubt from this data? So it's already 4:09. So we already close 2 hours. So it started 2:10, so 2 hours past. So if you wish, then I will continue with this data thing. Otherwise, I give you my PPT to you. When you work with that PPT, you will get to know all these things. Whatever I'm going to discuss using this data with you. So it's up to you. Give me your opinion. Don't hesitate to give your opinion. So really give you. Yes. Yes, Vijay.
We'll work with the PPT and then.
So
Sir, can you
when
please
I
share
take,
your email ID? Can you please share your
yes,
email ID as well? If you have any doubts, we can mail you.
sure. So I think my email ID has gone with you with inviting. When I send you invitation to join, so along with that, my
Oh,
email ID
okay,
has
great,
also gone.
great. Yeah.
So just check that.
Sir,
Otherwise,
sir,
I'll say
actually,
yeah.
sir, actually, I am working with 73rd round data on manufacturing, and without any knowledge of structure of labor data, I listen your webinar. I came to know that it's a good lecture from your side, at least for the students like me who have no knowledge of labor structure data. Actually, because I am working with the NSSO data, 73rd round, but without any knowledge, I could learn something about labor also. So my request is, whenever you conduct next webinar or lecture anywhere, please intimate us. And my personal request is, if you can conduct a lecture or webinar structure of labor data, I mean some theoretical background of this data, then I think most of the participants will learn better, because without any basic some basics about labor data structure, just directly going on commands is not easy task for us. So please, the next time, keep in mind that you just start with some structure of data, then come to the commands, please.
I'm fully agree with you. I'm saying
Yes.
I'm fully agree with you. Okay. So without knowing a description of the data set, it will be very hard to work with them.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about the discussing the structures of employment and unemployment, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is itself a very huge exercise,
Yeah.
okay? And that can't be possible to conduct in a 1 or 2 hour session, okay? Even more
At,
than 1 and 2 hour session,
at least
when
some
in a
exercise,
limited session.
some exercise may be done at least for at least one lecture. Whatever may be learned,
And yeah,
that will be
for
helpful
that,
for.
for that, yeah, of course. But with whatever I discuss all these things with you, these all are given in a PLFS report. And, and I suggest you instead of going with the PLFS report, you go with the older report, and older employment and unemployment report. That give you a
Yeah.
more better explanations of all these things as compared to the PLFS. PLFS missed many things. Uh, 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 explaining in their report. So that's they like current daily status. You never need to get to know about the current daily status if you are going through only PLFS round.
Yeah.
Even PLFS haven't provided estimates on the on daily current daily estimates. But when you go on to the debate, which one is the better estimate? So many people come with the argument that CDS current daily status one is the better approach as compared to the current weekly status approach. So
Yeah.
of course, when we start learning about the employment, we start learning from the undergraduate itself. In undergraduate Indian economic textbook, there is a discussion of you better know you work in a working in a Delhi university. Even I worked in a Delhi university, so I know all this. Then
Yeah.
you read something at a MA economics level, and then after when you do research, when really work with that, we explored many things about that. So NSS, I don't think if I focus on the employment unemployment world, then many people here are not going to work with and that for their research purpose in at least in a coming future. Probably one people are telling that they are working with the education route. Some people are working with the other round of data set. So that's why
That is
I
why
thought
that is why I am asking about some at least some background of data structure. Nothing else.
no, in my opinion, better is you stick with your area of research. If you're working with the unorganized manufacturing sector, then
Yeah.
get any specialization onto that. Whatever I told you regarding the command, you have required to use all those things in your uh, own estimations also. Of course, I'm using the same command in a different context because even first time I worked with the employment unemployment survey in a such a detail. Uh, Actually, my own specialization with the consumption expenditure survey.
Yeah.
So, so, so even though for a one NSS ICSSR project, I work with the health survey data set also. So, though during last 10 years, I worked with a many round of many kind of survey data set. So that one is a different matter. So that's people also do over a period of time. But starting with knowing one data set, one survey data set is very important. And that's the purpose of this today webinar, to introduce the people with the survey data.
Yeah.
So
Okay, sir.
any other queries or that thing, anything that you want to discuss with me?
Not now, sir. Please.
So thank you very much for joining this webinar. I'm very much delighted having a disciplined audience who
Sir,
listen me.
we are also very thankful to you to deliver a such wonderful webinar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So thank you very much to you all. I will share my email ID. Whenever you have any problem in the future, let that know to me. May I help you in that regard? And
Thank you, sir.
and keep reading, keep experimenting with the data. Particularly, try to know the sampling design, even how what kind of sampling designing necessary use. Because if you want to do a field survey, then knowing about the sampling design help you a lot. So, so get to know about that. Anyway, and all the things that we have discussed are not we can say very difficult that we get to know when you are practice with that update. That's all about. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'm ending this call and
Thank you. Thank you,
see
sir.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
Thank
time.
sir.
you. Okay, sir. So we stop this call.